Alright, this is the self-analysis speech for Scott Allen. These are my note cards that I may be using. And this is my Skype that I'm using currently. Hey, babe. Alright, first off, I guess my name is Scott Allen. I'm currently a student at Columbia College. I'm also a full-time father of 2 young boys. I'm a full-time husband to a wife who's also finishing up her MBA. And I work full-time in the oil and gas industry and land acquisitions. Not really sure what defines full-time these days, I guess, since I feel like I have 4 full-time jobs. But like I said, for right now, what we're going to talk about today is my strengths and weaknesses in public speaking. Before we get too far into it, I would like to state a little bit about my background. I grew up in a military family, so in that, like I said, both my parents were retired USMC, and we moved around a lot when I was growing up. So from my K through 12 years, I think I moved around 10 times. So that level of moving, you always had to meet new people, make new friends. It was just part of growing up, part of nature. And I think that really prepared me a lot moving forward. I never really got too nervous, talking to strangers, dealing with people. So it always kind of came a little bit easier to me. And then the other thing, again, like I mentioned, I work in contract negotiations for land acquisitions for oil and gas. And in that, I have to meet people, companies, corporations, pretty much on a daily, weekly basis and broker land deals. And part of that is, you have to meet with these people. You have to start off on the right foot with them. Because if you don't start off on the right foot from the beginning, it's very difficult to end on the right foot at the end. So again, public speaking, breaking the ice, meeting strangers, feeling fairly comfortable, those are very important in my line of work. Some of my strengths I feel in public speaking is that same feature, is that I don't tend to get too nervous. I'm okay dealing with strangers, I'm okay in uncomfortable situations. I talk a lot to random people, grocery stores, banks. I try and relate with them, find out what topics they're interested in, or what situation that they're dealing with, whether it's an unruly child that we can relate with, whether we're both standing in line at the grocery store watching somebody pull out 100 coupons, So like I said, I feel that's always a strength, is that I don't tend to get too nervous. And the other thing is that I feel like I'm also a little bit, kind of a sharp mind. I can keep a conversation moving, I can, let a conversation change directions, roll with that new conversation, bring the conversation back to its original point, and then continue moving. And I think those are also strengths in public speaking, is, you won't always have a structured environment to deal with. Sometimes scenarios change, and you have to be able to move with that. If you get stuck, it's really hard to get back if you don't know what you're doing. Some of my weaknesses, though, and I'm probably doing one right now, is I can talk too fast. In our book, we read that, people can understand 400 to 800 words a minute. Sometimes, I know what I'm saying, I know what I'm trying to say, so I assume my entire audience knows what I'm saying, and I'll just start rolling, and I can move way too fast for people. The other weakness I feel like I have is probably in details. Again, when I go to these meetings, a lot of what we do is we do introductions, handshakes, meet and greets, things of that nature. And sometimes I'll be focused a little bit too much on what I'm there for, whether it's my details, my data, what I'm there to represent, and I won't really be fully engaged in that small conversation. I won't pay attention to details, I won't recognize people's names. I'll know them for a second and then I forget them. So if I walk in a room, I can meet 10 people, and literally 5 minutes later I can remember 0 of their names. And that's definitely a weakness, I think, because as the conversation is over, you tend to notice that you might need to be able to know these names. You can't simply rely on the name tags on their jackets to say, hello, my name is. I don't know what I just heard there, but like I said, so what I need to work on, I feel like, in my public speaking is trying to slow down a little bit, making sure that I fully articulate my words, my thoughts, get my sentence structures out there so that they're, the audience can receive them well, understand what I'm saying, and I'm not flying by too many people in the audience. And then the other thing is I got to just understand that I've probably prepared as well as I'm going to. I need to really focus at that time on the conversations with my audience. So if I'm talking to people, I need to pay attention to names, Mike, Greg, Bob, whatever the name is. When I'm doing those handshakes, I really need to focus whether it's repeating that name in my head or whatever I need to do, but there's work that needs to be done in that category, I feel, in my speaking engagements. So, I think in conclusion, I think my comfort level dealing with strangers, dealing with uncomfortable situations, I think are good things. If I can break the ice, if I can make the audience feel comfortable as we begin our process, then I think those are good things. I just really have to focus more on, trying to slow down my speech, trying to make sure that I'm paying attention to the details, and I think those things working together should help me in my public speaking career moving forward. So, again, just want to thank you all. Bye, babe.